My name's Talaminya Maya and I'm the CEO of the Sister Kate's Home Kids Aboriginal Corporation, but I also am a Sister Kate home kid, a survivor of the stolen gens.
I know a lot about Sister Kate's from what I've read. I'm still on that journey myself. I know it was formed in the early 1930s, and I know their history and its connection to the stolen generation. And
we looked at what was wrong with all of our people. And as Sister Kate Home Kids, we thought, well, you know, even though we have a part of the stolen generation, we've got the intergenerational trauma, that's actually also been unwittingly passed to our children and our younger gens. We were all felt quite sick at heart, so we identified that we were suffering from soul sickness.
I think, to be absolutely frank with you, a lot of people don't understand the significance of what happened during that period. And I think it's of such significance to Indigenous people, but at times I think with some shame of lesser significance to people that are obviously from my own background. You know, it's up to us all to educate ourselves about what happened back then, but I can tell you quite frankly, as the father of 4 sons, I can't imagine what it would be like to have those children taken away. I would never get over it. I would never recover from it. And I think that what we're seeing now is the trauma from what occurred has actually separated families, and that is a generational thing.
Because one of the problems that we actually did identify is that we had lost our way. We were not just stolen gens, but we're also the lost children, and we were lost kids because we didn't know who we were. We were assimilated to a level of not being known where we fit within our family and our community. So what we did with our type of programs, we looked at the core focus of a healing program, and that's a cultural healing program.
Sister Kate's has been a real shining light for me. I've only been on the council for about 5 years in total, but I've had an awful lot to do with Sister Kate's most recently as a mayor, and I know how the regard in which they're considered at both the federal, state and local government levels.
The wonderful thing about the City of Canning and the Sister Kate's is that over the last 3 to 4 years we've developed a really close working relationship, and that's not just come from going in and ticking a few boxes. That's taking a hell of a lot of effort to be able to change people's minds, or to even introduce a whole different philosophy within their own selves. Well, this is where the bush block played a big part, because we used to run away, and I don't say that lightly either. We used to run away from the regime, the strict regime that we were living under in the home, over the road to the bush block. So once we were there, we had that whole sense of freedom. It was magic really, and even though I'm hitting 70, I can still see myself as a young child running with a group of homies across that land.
It's more than just a bush block, isn't it? I mean, it's what it means to people. We talk about reconciliation action groups and action plans, and we had our first in 2018. But the bush block out there as a place of healing is actually reconciliation in action.
Well, this bush block is about 5 acres of pristine country. It's not been built on before. It's in the city limits. It's only about, 10, not even that k's from Perth. The concept plan that we devised only uses 5% of the land. You know, you can't expect to walk on that healing road alone. We have to all work together, and we see that place of healing and that bush block playing a very, very significant role now and in the future for that to happen.
It's more than just reconciliation. We're seeing that in spirit. And so for us to be able to have the opportunity as a council, and for me as a mayor, to be able to work with TJ and the board at Sister Kate's to make something more meaningful there, and to work collaboratively with the group to make sure that what occurs on that side is in keeping with expectations, but also that it actually blends the community together. We need to find some common ground there, and I think we have. That's what I've actually seen in the last few years, is that we are now starting to work far more closely together.
Well, the City of Canning knew that we were putting lots of programs around the metropolitan area. They approached us and says, well, is there any chance that we can actually do a annual gathering of some kind for the community that is opened up to all of the community? And I just said, well, what about the Kent Street Weir? I said, but Kent Street Weir also is a significant place for Sister Kate Home Kids, because it was a part of our childhood.
You know, I often get asked to come and speak at these things. It's very easy to come with prepared answers to prepared questions. It's harder to actually speak from the heart and be genuine.
They asked us to develop a program and say, well, what do you think? And they said, absolutely fabulous, because it's big enough to hold a lot of people. And our first program, which was 2 years ago, we had over, 300 people come along, because they were interested how City of Canning works with a stolen gen organisation, but also Aboriginal people. And they were so blown away with the program that we delivered, that's morphed now into an annual event.
So the SKHKAC Corporation has committed in the development of our place of healing, not to allow our history to define us, but actually to be a source of strength and a place of wisdom and a means of connection, both to the story that we had no choice in making, but we do get the choice to do what we need to do with it. And that is in the heart of the relationship between the City of Canning and the SKHKAC Corporation in creating this really unique opportunity, because we can. So I just wanted to connect you and invite you to be part of that story that's being written every day. And it gets written in these moments. These are the joining moments where we come together. This is history making. This was unimagined 67 years ago, that we would sit together and have this conversation in the way that we could.
We've held several programs on the bush block now, in which we're hoping to actually hold more as things progress and we develop the site. But one of the programs that we did, I think it was spring 2019, was a gathering of women, or we tried to hold men and women's cultural healing bush camps at least once a year, just for home kids and their young youth and their young fellas. But this time around, what we thought that we would do is to invite other sisters. So it's about strengthening the sisterhood, not just with Aboriginal and Noongar and Homie families and community members, but also we opened it up to connect with other sisters. And we had about 66 sisters on site, which took in many people many sisters from various cultures. I had quiet moments while standing in the bush looking into the circle of the women and our children, and they were just so connected, because it showed the bush block at its true potential in how it can provide a space. Loved when they were sitting on the ground, all the sisters were sitting on the ground with the kids, and teaching them about the environment. We were telling them Noongar's story, and you could see the elders from a group of Indian ladies that came to support us, and they were just absolutely blown away with the connection that they could see the love and that sort of generated out of the children to the elders. And that's really what Sister Kate's want people to see, because I think it's very important that we, have these times, and the sisterhood and the women's healing camp actually proved that can actually be a success.
Today we are doing a program for women's healing. It's one of the first bush block gatherings with the women today. Andrew. Yang kaya nyunduk yu aku, yang kaya nyunduk nichu yu aku, ngarlak nunut jinang
We
yay,
all come together.
jurup nunut
We're
jinang
actually
yay,
got such
yang
fabulous support base.
kaya
I mean, look at us all here today.
nunga
Sisters from other cultures, coming together, understanding the sisterhood and the importance of
wajak
sisters
nunga
working together.
bujaya,
And this is actually a first ceremony
ngarlak
and a
nunut
first gathering
jinang
that we
yay,
plan. We
jurup
actually are
nunut
hoping this will actually
jinang
go on now, so
yay,
we hold a series of
yang
sisterhood and sister gatherings. But
jurup
yes,
nunut
Cheryl was
jinang
saying that
yay,
this is a place of healing. It was for us when we were younger. It is for us today, and it's going to be us for the future. But not just homies. Or everybody. So that's the beauty of this place.
I'm not a Sister Kate's home kid, but I work for Sister Kate's, and I'm not a Stolen Gen descendant. My grandmother was a descendant from Magumba Mission, but we've all had those traumatic experiences, and we've all been, it's a trauma that's been passed down. This block here is very significant to the Sister Kate's people that had been there, but also for their descendants, because you do need a place to gather, and you do need a healing space. And I think that the one thing that working with Sister Kate's is that I have found that the homies are so generous in giving and wanting to heal. When they're healing themselves, they want to share, so they give everyone, so everyone understands about the past, but moves forward in a positive light. But we can only move that way if we all heal.
Yonga Booker, Burrow. There you go, lovely. Thanks for being part of everything, okay? No, you aren't well in. Okay. Wait this. Booker, Burrow. Yang in Nietzsche. Bar Korbadak yoga. Hiya. Jambi Maya, Mitcha.
Say thank you.
Hiya. Hiya. From the Murich Marken. Korbadak.
Thank you for that.
Anything to do in culturally in any Indigenous culture where women are getting together and, you know, gathering and being creative, it creates an atmosphere for them to have conversation and being able to open up and to also heal. Because when you're around with other women, and that's what we had traditionally, you had women's business and you had men's business, but in all Indigenous cultures right around the world, you had that group of women that gave the strength, and in those kind of strength kind of things you had that creative essence. And a lot of it is, yes, flowers are healing from, you know, globally, right around the world.
Whether we know it or not, we are all connected. That's my firm belief, and it gives me a great pleasure to be with people, and when I see a smile in anyone else's face, that makes me smile too. So that shows that we are all connected, isn't it?
Well, if you can help heal yourself, and if you're in a better space in time in your own self, so clear mind, clear intent, clear mind, you know, the whole process. If you're feeling good, then you're able to help your community in a better way, because your approach is going to be different. So if you start, so yeah, it's just like, you know, when you chuck a rock into water and it starts to ripple out. So if you've got that nice centre of feeling good, then you're actually expanding it out, and that's how you help a community, because you can't help a community if you're not well. With any kind of wildflower or any essences, a person that is being treated with any or shows any kind of symptom, the client and the person that's working with them would, you know, do I can't even say the word, analysis of that person and find out, just like if you went to a doctor, but you'd be looking at it in a whole. That's the difference. It's a holistic process. So it doesn't just treat the ailment, but it's mind, body, and soul. So it's a holistic approach. So you find out what was wrong with the person. So if they had a tummy ache and what they were doing, and then you'd know what kind of flowers that they would need to be treated.
I am placing warm water into a bowl for a foot bath, and you'll see it's got some little Geraldton wax flowers in it. And I'm also placing in some flower essences. They're all WA bush flowers for a relaxing, stress-relieving foot bath.
The Banksia woodland that we're sitting in is an important piece of bushland in the Swan Coastal Plain, which includes the area of the Perth metropolitan region. Banksia woodlands are endangered. There's not much of it left, and it's really important that we care for them. So teaching the kids about the bushland gives them an understanding of why it's important and teaches them to protect it into the future. We will teach them different species that are common to the Banksia woodland, and indeed the species that are in the Banksia woodland here. And then we'll teach them the names for those, the scientific names, and Sister Kate's home kids will teach them the Noongar names for those, and they'll learn about the animals and how they rely on different plants to survive.
The strength is, to me, is sharing culture, because if you share culture, you're educating people to understand and walk in your shoes, but also to respect that we're all different, but we all come from different places. But being culturally grounded to this land and being part of here, it's important for the others to come and share and acknowledge as well. So when we all share and we bond together, then we all walk together, and then that's when everything else gets stripped away and we walk as sisters, because we're not any different, we're all the same. We all bleed, we're all the same.
Yoga wanking. Hiya yoga. Hiya kwapreda wirin. Nicha puja muri puja wa. Nicha wirin yoga murichwa. Nuna ngaing. Nuna ngalawa. Buddha murich. Kulingwa Buddha wa. This country is strong, these women are strong, their spirit is strong, and may whatever journey we all take, we do it together as we walk forward to the future together.
The men's camp this time around was brilliant, and I'm not just saying that because I'm not just giving that to lip service either, to show how our elders speak and work with our young fellas, because a lot of our young fellas suffer, mega problems. They're actually in, trauma recovery too. So I looked at all of that, and I watched how the elder spoke and how he guided the young ones through the cultural components.
Kaya nunak ngaji wanda ninyak nan ngani buja datli mi awni daklin karni nyunga buja wanju nop wedra nop wedra maman nyunga maman wanju to this manda buja which camp. I'd like to acknowledge Sister Kate's for putting this on for the weekend. And I'm going to call on the old people to come in, to be part of us, and bring their knowledge to our camp, to our fire, to our kala. And we're going to share this over the next day and a half. We're not only just doing bush science, we're doing all the subjects, what our old people used to do. And by making glue, is yonga guna, is guna. To farm this stuff, the Aboriginal people used to farm the land with a little fire to melt the trunks up of the grass trees or the balga bushes over there, and this would ooze out. And we'd come along and we'd collect it and we'd make glue out of it. Now, these guys are going to show you what to do with this. So grab your boya, your rocks, grab your yongaguna, tap your rocks, and start grinding. So get it too fine, make it fine. You fellas watching? You'll be doing this after. Step back now. You three. You saw what they'd done? Do it exactly like they did. Now you can stay there, Glenn, to keep that fire going, and Uncle over here. You've got to work as a team. Be careful with it, take your time. Rome wasn't built in a day. And this is ancient. Push it on this end, push it on the point. On this point, on this end. That's the boy. Just made an ancient tool. What's this tool called? Codge. Codge, stone axe. Codge, you heard the town called Kojonup? It's got its name, the place of the axe. How are you feeling right now?
Good. Feeling good.
Feeling good?
Yes.
Now look here, look what you've done.
Happy.
Happy? Fantastic. So we're working on our well-being, that's it. Now, come down this way, because I want to share a story with you. You need to understand this story for us as Aboriginal people. Long time ago in the Nyetting, in the cold time, when the land was soft, everything you can imagine was in spirit form. They all gathered in this place like this, and they were karanying. They were listening and learning who's going to become carers of everything, who's going to care for everything. The trees, they dominated the discussion. There were that many of them. And they just said, listen, we don't move. We just stay in one place. We wouldn't be able to do justice to this budja. We wouldn't be able to look after this land because we don't move anywhere. We just stay in one place. They said, what we'll do is we'll provide for those who win the right to care for everything. Mother Earth don't see colour. She don't care who you are. All you got to do is show her respect because she'll provide everything for you. And there's a lot of healing stuff in our stories. You guys got to learn these stories to start caring for our country. And when you start learning these stories, you start caring for yourself. Your stories, you are as an Aboriginal people, you are people caring for the country, caring for yourself. This story I'm talking about is there. And you fellas got to learn this and know, and our brothers here got to understand this, because this is part of them too as well.
I'm going to tell you the story about the Willie Ragtop. He went out and kept all his food, got all this knowledge. The old people taught him all this knowledge. And he was getting tired. So he wanted to have a sleep, have a real big sleep. But before he did that, he had to give back something. He had to give back all the knowledge that he had, and the knowledge of the plants, food, everything that the old people give him. So he decided to do a little dance. And that's the little dance that we're going to do, the Willie Ragtop dance.
Everybody's got to be in the circle. 1, 2, 3. Yakai! We've got to let ourselves be able to share these times and without being stressing out, because we carry too much stress. A lot of our people, not only Aboriginal people, but a lot of people do not sit down and talk because they're ashamed of it, ashamed of what they're carrying. But in spaces like this is where we share. This is why we need to have these talks like this. You need to let it out. You need to talk it out, because this is good medicine. We as people need to see this and feel this and be part of this. That's where your healing starts.
Sister Kate's is very dedicated into threading through a whole reconciliation thread through our programs and the collaborations that we do.
I think the key for us at the moment is, we've been on the reconciliation journey for a very long time and did that willingly.
So this gives them an opportunity to show the world that they are committed to their RAP and also committed to Sister Kate's, not just about the bush block, but also working as a collective family within the community.